presented by Calm Cavern.
Alexander, good you're here. Sit. I was beginning to think I'd scared you off with the last experiment. What was it you said? Something about playing with fire while standing in oil-soaked boots. Okay, fair enough, I suppose. Still, I'm glad you're back. Your insights, they remind me of your great-grandfather's journals. The Vanitas line has always produced minds that dance just on the edge of madness, though I mean that as a compliment, of course. Visionaries often do. What was his name again? Adrian, wasn't it? The philosopher who wrote that maddening treatise about, what was it? The irrelevance of linear time. I read it years ago. Could barely finish a chapter without my head spinning, but something about it stuck with me. The idea that time isn't a straight road but a web interconnected, chaotic, infinite. Benita's family has a knack for such ideas, don't they? I know it's a lot, but look at the pattern. It's undeniable. Here, let me show you. Do you see it? No? Maybe not yet. Let me rethink this equation here. Anyway, it got me thinking. Not just about time itself, but about what happens when you try to move through it. And that, Alexander, is where things get interesting. Time doesn't just let you waltz through it unscathed. No, it claws at you. Fights back. You've seen how matter destabilizes under temporal pressure in our tests. A person. Well, it's far worse. When a body travels through time, it starts to decay. Cells collapse, neural pathways fray. It's as if the body rejects the idea of existing in a moment it wasn't born to. I've seen the results, Alexander. It's not something you forget. But there's a way around it. A loophole, if you will. Cloning. Imagine this a perfect replica of the traveler. Identical in every way. The original body, yes, it deteriorates. But the consciousness, the mind, moves forward. It wakes in the clone, intact and ready to continue. Like shedding old skin for new. Time is tricky. Not as much of a leap as you think. Consciousness, Alexander, isn't just some abstract thing. It's a quantum state, a web of entangled particles holding everything that makes you. You. Memories, identity, perception. When the body destabilizes under temporal pressure, that quantum state collapses. But with a clone, we give it a new anchor. A fresh framework where it can transfer intact. Yes, the process isn't perfect. It's a bit like taking a spider's web and moving it to a new branch. If the strands aren't handled carefully, it frays. That's why the clone must be a flawless biological match down to the smallest particle. Only then can the quantum state reconnect without distortion. Of course it raises questions, doesn't it? How many times can someone transfer before they lose something essential? And then there's the matter of identity. If the original is gone and the copy takes their place, is it really still them? Or just a shadow wearing their face? Smart in it. A shadow. The continuity of identity depends on preserving the quantum coherence of the original state. Any interference, any disruption, and, well, what wakes up might not be the same person who started the journey. Think on it. I won't pretend I have all the answers. But isn't that the joy of it? Wrestling with ideas so vast they make the universe itself feel small? Just try not to get lost in them. Your great-grandfather did, and I'd rather not lose my brightest student to the same fate. But you're a vanitas. Wrestling with these questions is in your blood. Your great-grandfather devoted his life to understanding existence, identity, time. Perhaps you're meant to continue his work, or perhaps you'll take it even further. And here, this journal from the Coldris archives. Do you see how they describe the temporal fractures? They thought it was purely theoretical back then. Also, have you been hearing the rumors, Alexander, about the disappearances in Ironport, or the unregistered experiments in Basel Heights? Whispers of underground projects that make even the Ministry nervous. A faction with resources, intelligence, and an agenda no one fully understands. I've been piecing together fragments, following leads, and then I found a name. They call themselves the Aron Collective. Ever heard of them? No, I suppose not. They're not exactly forthcoming. I only stumbled across their name in a fragment of a report smuggled out of the Ironport district. The kind of document that disappears as quickly as it surfaces. Again, but the report mentioned experiments. Disturbingly similar to our own. Rumors, of course, half-truths wrapped in paranoia. But then there was a name, a familiar one, Calm. Yes, that Calm. I'll admit when I first read it, I had to sit down. It felt wrong. Calm General? General of the Scientific District, of all things. The Ministry of Order made the appointment a few months ago, though you won't find that in their official records. They're careful with how they wield their tools. Here, check the report out for yourself. Odd, isn't it? The language they use. Vague but deliberate, almost as if they're hiding something in plain sight. you don't know him like I do. Calmos. Brilliant. A free spirit in every sense of the word. In those days, he couldn't have been further from the ministry's ideals. He had this relentless energy, this passion for seeing science used to improve lives, not control them. And he wasn't alone. He and Emilia, do you know that name? No, I suppose not. She was his partner in every way. An idealist to rival him. They dreamed of pushing back against the scientific district's growing grip on humanity. Advocating for ethics, for rights, for treating people as more than data points in an experiment. They were unstoppable, so it seemed. Now he's one of them. General Calm of the scientific district. The ministry's golden boy. I never thought I'd see the day. I can't fathom what happened to him after Amelia's death. Something broke. He disappeared for years, and when he resurfaced, he wasn't the man I remembered. He was colder, calculating, no longer fighting the system, becoming it. What frightens me most is the rumor that Calm isn't just working for the ministry. He's building something monstrous. The report from Ironport hinted at cloning experiments and consciousness transfer. The project's eerily similar to what we're doing, but weaponized, controlled. The kind of science the ministry would salivate over. They seem to think time isn't just a web, but a battlefield. They're less interested in understanding it and more controlling it. Reshaping it, perhaps. That's dangerous thinking. Power like that, it's never wielded carefully. And yet, part of me wonders, should I reach out to them, share notes, exchange ideas? They might have insights we lack. Or perhaps they've already solved what we're still struggling to define. But I can't ignore the risks. Groups like this, they don't take kindly to outsiders. Collaboration could easily become confrontation. And if they perceive us as a threat, well, you've seen what happens when science falls into the wrong hands. Violence, chaos, the kind that leaves nothing standing but regret. I trust you, Alexander. I wouldn't have shared this if I didn't. But trust is delicate, fragile. I need to know you'll keep this between us. For now, at least. Until we're ready. Speaking of readiness, we need materials. Vital ones. There's a vendor in the Ashlane Bazaar who trades in rare isotopes. Specific compounds I can't fabricate here, not without risking another implosion. And you know how the wardens feel about unexpected explosions in the upper spires. Maybe. His name is Lornis. You'll find him near the market's western edge, past the spice traders. He's not exactly a beacon of trustworthiness, but he's reliable. So long as you don't ask too many questions. When the isotopes are volatile, handle them carefully. And whatever you do, keep your wits about you. The bazaar isn't safe after dark, even for someone as sharp as you. Bring the materials directly here when you return. No detours, no delays. If anyone asks, you're gathering parts for a routine calibration. Nothing more. The fewer people who know what we're working on, the better for both of us. I don't say this lightly, Alexander, but I need you for this. There's no one else I trust with something this important. You'll do fine. Just be careful. And here, there should be a little extra in there. Enough to get yourself something while you're at the market. A warm drink, perhaps, or one of those sugar pastries they sell this time of year. Consider it my way of saying thank you and happy holidays. Now, where did I put that schematic?